You give good salaries, it is assumed that you will make more profit, and 2% of that will feed more of the CSR funds. We can't actually pay CSR message to the HR.
I just want to say, Pant has already thrown light. You are mixing two issues. This one, no, that's an HR issue. That's one. But more importantly, what is lot of people? It seems lot of you has aspiration that the CSR fund will not be utilized properly by some companies who are say not a good corporate citizen. This one, no. Now, what the government has done, and I think it has done for the right, is that the CSR fund is not managed, or the not I'm not using the right word, is not the onus of proper usage of the CSR fund do not lie with the company director. It's the independent director in the company who is supposed to chair the CSR committee in that particular company. And the laws has been and the law of the country are now being made more strict, that the independent director just can't be a what you call it this one, no, just a representative of the company and just signing on the dotted lines. They are made liable for the action of theirs. Okay, that in general, not just for CSR but otherwise also. So so an independent director who heads the CSR committee of that particular company, this one, if takes a wrong decision or a decision which is not good, he might be liable for the liability is that person. He might be prosecuted, whatever laws of the land suggest. So that's why that has been made. So what you were saying is that a company would have, if the director would have been from the same company, they would have done all those surrogate CSR and all those things. But now that has been, you can't do it, because the independent director is the overall oversight and the chairman of the committee. So you can't actually do those type of surrogate CSR, because then you will be caught by your own director. And that's how these are some of the checks and balances which has been inbuilt into the system, into the law, so that whatever aspirations you or whatever things you are raising, this type of things doesn't happen. Of course, I won't say that everything is been very done in a very good way. There may be some loopholes here and there which needs to be checked. This one, and as things goes on, it's just 1 year that the CSR law has been passed, but over the years, many of the things might come to picture and might get addressed as and when it comes.
Okay, since we are running out of time, so you wanted to comment on this?
I just wanted to say that when my HR manager goes for LTA negotiations, the union won't care what CSR company is doing. Their negotiation is purely based on their demands and their requirements, and that's very serious debate, and it goes on, and they get what they want. If they don't like the LTA negotiation, then they take their decision. That's how the business happens. So there's nothing to do with the way CSR spending will influence, or that money is actually diverted here. If that happens, that I don't think so, because I won't forego my salary for company's good thing. I will also look what I am getting. The same applies to all workers in factory.
Since we are running out of time, if there are questions, please try to keep it brief, please.
Hello.
Please be focused and brief.
CSR is corollary to the company's earnings, right? Because last year there was a professor. Okay, last year there was a professor who came and had a talk on CSR, where they said that CSR should actually be looked at as a responsibility, because there's a cost to environment that every company is associated with, right? And like suppose I have a factory, so I'm actually damaging by air pollution, I'm damaging the air which doesn't belong. So there are certain resources which doesn't belong to the company per se, which is belonging to the humanity. So from that perspective, CSR, don't you think should be like how to enforce? I'm saying CSR not just about how much you earn, rather than what your cost to environment is for every company, right? And secondly, the activities that the government has listed down. So cannot it be put in a way that the kind of damage you are doing, or the kind of damage, the part of the environment or part of society, the damage you are doing, your CSR activity should also be channeled in improving those areas.
So your good name?
My name is Sandeep.
Sandeep. All right. So suppose I set up a factory and I displace people. There's another act called Land Acquisition, Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act, LARR. So I cannot set up a factory unless I take care of the people whom I am displacing. I can't do that with 2% of my CSR because I'm displacing them for my business process, or am I displacing them to set up a primary school? You tell me, Sandeep. What am I doing? Why am I displacing
Of
those
course,
people?
that is of course for your business process.
For my business process. Now suppose I've got a factory, okay, and I've given them the compensation for displacement. Now the factory is running and it is polluting the environment. Now this pollution in the environment is because of my business process or because of a primary school?
Of course for the business process. Then.
It's part of my business process, so it is the duty of my business process to take care of rectifying it. Now, with the CSR money that I have, I can actually support primary schools in the region and tell them how not to add to the pollution, right, as good citizens of the country. But anything I do with my business and is related to the business needs to be sorted out with the business money only. And basis that, the net money that I get, over an average of 3 years, I do a max of 2% is my CSR budget. So the whole formula has been prepared keeping in mind that if you do good business and you take care of all the negativity if it creates, basis that if you make good profit, आप तो अगर नहीं बनाते हो प्रॉफिट तो आप CSR मत करो ना, वही तो फिर CSR ही हो गया आपका। आप अगर ये सब करने के बाद 2 रुपए बचाते हो तब उसको आप इसी काम में मत डालो। ये लॉ ये कहती है।
Why I was asking,
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, got your point. Why I was asking.
You have to have other questions.
Unfortunately, some of these.
Yeah, let me put it little more clearly. This one again, you are mixing two things. One is the social responsibility, the other is the sustainability responsibility. All companies, or rather, I don't know whether it has been made a law or not, this one, but most of the companies now have a division on sustainable development, and they have to also report on sustainability reporting. Okay, now all the companies have a fund called CSR and there is another fund called Sustainable Development Fund. Now using the Sustainable Development Fund, they can also use that money, say to put up a solar power plant on their roof. So while under CSR you can't do that because you are actually, it's not a corollary, inside the business, it's not a corollary to your business, but under the Sustainability Development Initiative, you can put a solar power plant on your roof and show it, and the money can come from that fund. And most of the companies are also, of course, under the Sustainable Development Fund. Public sectors.
This is actually very valid for
Yes.
the public sector.
So Sustainability Development Fund can also be used to fund CSR projects, and at the same time also fund sustainable interventions, environment friendly interventions within your own business process. This one. So these are two separate things which are being done.
And it is also very important to remember that in public sectors there is a new guideline of October 2014 which says that they will have CSR budget and a sustainability development budget, but the CSR budget will be calculated as per section 135 and that amount is suppose X. They may feel free to keep another amount Y. Now the Y, if it builds and gives more to the X, they are free to do that, but the X में से कुछ हटा के Y उसको replace नहीं कर सकता है. It can be X and plus plus plus.
Hope that clarifies.
To some extent.
Okay. We can have discussion, after this also. Okay, next question. Please keep it brief. How
Yeah.
many questions we are expecting? Let me take a look at that.
I think a quick question, like the business models which are based on sustainability were a choice in the past, but given the circumstances which we are facing right now, I mean the environmental aspects, they are not going to be a choice. They are actually going to be, they are actually going to be forced. I mean, a lot of companies are changing their business model to be sustainable, like we have seen Unilever doing this in the past. So, I mean, don't you think that the concepts like creating shared value are going to be the future rather than CSR thing? Because what is going to be the future of CSR in this light?
You is part of the business process. What's your name?
My name is Avnish.
Avnish. So creating shared value is a business model, which Michael Porter says that at the bottom of the pyramid, if I have a 1 rupee sachet of Head and Shoulder, which the poor guy cannot otherwise buy a big bottle, so I'm actually hitting the bottom of the pyramid at low cost and looking at scales. Then I get the profits. It's hardcore business. What the Indian law says that I don't want to call this as CSR. I say you sell crores of more sachets, make more profit, take care of all your liabilities, then over last 3 years net profit 2 रुपया आप प्राइमरी स्कूल में डालो, बिकॉज राइट नाउ इन माई कंट्री इन इंडिया वी फील दैट सम ऑफ दीज एरियाज नीड corporate support to add to government effort, especially corporate effort over the last 20 years on management, on project evaluations, on technology, etc., which otherwise government is unable to do. So that is the, so creating shared value आप करते रहिए, पर उसको CSR मत कहिए, because CSV does make good business sense.
Yeah, we actually, I had explained that like we believed that the social investment part which we believe, which we are investing into also creates a shareholder value, means over a period of time. It's not that they are getting money or their returns back from that, but it's like the company's sustainable journey is going to be there forever. Because without having communities along with you, you can't prosper. That's how we looked at it. So that takes care of both the things. Like we said, it is creating shareholder value. And today it's also CSR. We didn't change any of our initiatives also after this CSR rule came, because this was very well within those that framework itself.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Yes. Yes.
My name is Sridhar.
Please keep it
And-
brief, and we'll have just one last question after this.
Yeah, my question is towards Mr. Nikhil Pant, sir. Basically, the law says that if a company fails to invest the amount which it is mandated to 2%, then it has to provide the reason for it. But it doesn't say anything about what reasons are accepted and what are not. So how do we look at it?
It's a very good question, Sridhar. Spending. So if I do my maths and my budget is $100, and I could have a budget of 100 rupees, but I don't find NGOs, I don't find good projects. My allocation could be 80 rupees, right? And my actual spending could be 60 rupees because the NGOs didn't perform. So the law says and the rules say that in the board report, as per section 134.3.0, there's a format in the rules that has been given. It's called the annual CSR report. It has to be part of the board's report. Now the board's report must say that out of the 100 bucks, which it will first define 100 rupees and the quantum which is 100. It will then define 80. It will define that we have allocated 80, right? But then actual spending 60 है. वो जो 20 का जो और कमी है वो कंपनी की गलती है, आपने ऐसे एनजीओस को क्यों चूज किया. लेकिन 100 से 80 का गैप हो सकता है because you didn't have projects at all in the first couple of years. So the reasons need to be justifiable first by the CSR department to their own board. Remember, CSR is now a board level activity. It is no longer a non-board activity. It used to be more of an HR activity. So the CSR head has a major task to explain to the board why you couldn't spend. If a Vodafone, अगर एयरटेल ने स्पेंड कर दिया और अच्छी ब्रांड बिल्डिंग की और वोडाफोन नहीं कर पाया और 3 साल के बाद who moved my cheese होने लगा उसके साथ में, तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी कंपनी में. So the reasons could be justifiable, but that's why I'm saying the next 2 years are going to be very interesting, and all of you, since you're management students, you must go very deep into this because the entire business sector is going to move around this now. This is how it has happened abroad in America. Harvard and Columbia, they're all researching on this right now. That's why Michael Porter came up with those researches. So your reasons have to be logical, but the logic has to be for that particular year, but you can't keep doing it again and again because your shareholders, your stakeholders will question you.
One last question, please.
Good afternoon, panel.
I was asking him at the back. He has been waiting for long. Please. Okay, I'll give you a chance also, but not after
Okay,
that.
first
So
at
we
the
are
back.
running out of time.
For the Indian Corporate Law Service officials, the Group A service that undergo advanced training at IICA, especially in light of the upcoming detailed report on CSR evaluation, what additional roles do you foresee for them aside from being liquidators and such? Thank you.
See, I think when we